In the previous videos, we discussed about the Mauryan Empire. Today, we are going to discuss post-Mauryan period. Post-Mauryan period is very important for the all competitive examinations because here we have much information to know. After the Ashoka, that means in the Mauryan Empire, Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusara, Ashoka. These three people, they ruled nearly 90 years. After these three rulers, latter Mauryans, they ruled only 50 years, around 185 BC. 185 BC, some books it was there in 187 BC. So this period, Mauryan Empire completely declined. That means Mauryan Empire disappeared. It started in 321 BC, ended in 187 BC. It was first historical empire established by the Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya was considered as the first historical emperor in Indian history. After him, Bindusara and Ashoka the Great ruled. These three, on an average, they ruled 30 years. That is almost 90 years. After the Ashoka, started the disintegration of the Mauryan Empire. This Mauryan Empire, during the time of the Ashoka period, they even occupied the Kalinga. They even occupied the Kalinga area. And almost to some South Indian kingdoms, Pandya, Chera, Chola were also under the subdue of the Mauryans. By this time, Andhra kingdom was also under the control of the Mauryans. Almost the entire India was controlled under the Mauryan Empire during the time of the Ashoka's period. It was huge centralized administrative empire. Because of that, after the Ashoka, Dasarada, Kunala, like some other people, some other Mauryan rulers, they could not be able to control the entire administrative system. They failed because of the centralized administrative system. So it was at this moment, after the death of the Ashoka, started the decline of Mauryan Empire. And last Mauryan ruler, Bruhadrada. Bruhadrada was last Mauryan emperor. Bruhadrada was killed by a Brahmin army general, Pushyamitra Sunga. Bruhadrada was killed by a Brahmin army general, Pushyamitra Sunga. Originally, Pushyamitra Sunga, he was working under the Bruhadrada. He was a Brahmin. And coming to this point, you need to understand one thing. Brahmins are different types. The people, those who are working at the court of the king, they were called as scholars, writers, and they used to praise the ruler. And the people of Brahmins, those who are working in the army, they were called as Niyoga Brahmins. And the Brahmins, those who are performing yajnas and yagas, these were called as Vedic Brahmins. Remaining almost are the poor Brahmins. Like that, there were different types of the Brahmins in the Indian society. Don't think that Brahmins means they are only priestly class, but they are different classes. Scholars, they were the scholars. They were the army generals also. They were the Vedic priests, and also some poor Brahmins. Other than these three types of the people, the remaining people were the poor Brahmins. Sometimes these poor Brahmins, they will be like monks, and some Brahmins, they used to go for the forest as a sages, going to the forest as a sages. And some Brahmins, they started tapas as a sages, like this. Okay, whatever it may be, this guy Pushyamitra Sunga, he killed Bruhadrata and he established Sunga dynasty. In 187 BC, Sunga dynasty was established by the Pushyamitra Sunga. Sunga dynasty was established by the Pushyamitra Sunga. This was considered as a post-Mauryan period. So this post-Mauryan period, during this period, India was politically disunited. Politically, India was disunited. Politically disunited. That means though no unity among the rulers of India, divided into different kingdoms. But politically it was dark years. Politically it was called as dark years because no unity among the rulers. There were different rulers ruled India. Northwestern India were the foreigners. North India were indigenous rulers. Remaining South India, there were some other rulers. But this area, economically, it was well developed area. That's why it is called as mercantile age. Economically, it was mercantile age. Economically, it was a mercantile age. Politically, dark age. Economically, mercantile age, because economically they maintained good trade and commerce with the Western countries. Because of the foreign invasions were occurred. This is also called as age of foreign invasions. Age of foreign invasions. So no other period ruled foreigners like the post-Mauryan period. During the post-Mauryan period, there were so many foreign rulers. That's why this age can be divided. Politically, this age can be divided into two groups. The kings were divided into two groups. Post-Mauryan kingdoms, we can divide into two groups. Foreigners and Indian kingdoms. Foreign kingdoms and Indian kingdoms. Coming to the point of the foreign kingdoms, so this area was under the control of the foreign kingdoms. This is northwestern area. Northwestern frontier was under the control of the foreigners. First foreigners will be considered as Indo-Greeks. After the Indo-Greeks, Sekas. After the Sekas, Parthians. These Parthians were also called as Pahlavas. Kushanas. These four kingdoms of the post-Mauryan period, they are the foreign kingdoms. Coming to the point of the Indian kingdoms. North India was under the control of the Sungas and Kanvas. North India was under the control of the first Sungas ruled. Next Kanvas, they ruled. In the North India. In Deccan, this area, this area was under the control of the Satavahanas. Deccan. Here Satavahanas, they ruled. Next, Eastern India. Eastern India was under the control of the Chedi kingdoms. Chedi, that is Kalinga. Kalinga was under the control of the Chedi kingdom. Below this deep South India, there are three kingdoms. They are called as Sangam kingdoms. Sangam kingdoms. Sangam kingdoms were the three: Chera, Cheras, Pandyas, Cholas. Chera rulers, Pandyas, Cholas. So these were the deep South Indian rulers. These were also mentioned in the Ashoka's inscription. Ashoka, he also mentioned in his inscription. Second major rock inscription of Ashoka speaks about South Indian rulers. So like this, coming to this point, northwestern India, topmost area was under the control of the Indo-Greeks. And below the Indo-Greeks, Sekas they ruled. And this area, Parthians they ruled this area. And totally, this area was under the control of the Kushanas. Sekas they ruled central India. Indo-Greeks they ruled northwestern India. Pahlavas or Parthians they also ruled northwestern India. Kushanas they ruled from Mathura to the Afghanistan. Mathura area to the Afghanistan. That was the Kushanas area. Kushanas they ruled after the Indo-Greeks, Sekas and Parthians. After the Indo-Greeks and Parthians, Kushanas ruled. Kushanas they were somewhat contemporary with the Sekas. Sungas, Kanvas, Satavahanas, these are the contemporary rulers along with the Chedi rulers. Chedi, Sunga, Kanva, Satavahana were contemporary. Same period, Pandya, Chera, Chola kingdoms also continued in the South India. So these are the kingdoms. We will come into the one by one. First we will take indigenous or Indian rulers. First we will discuss indigenous Indian rulers. The indigenous Indian rulers after the Mauryans. Pataliputra fell under the control of the Sungas. Sungas they ruled that area. Sungas. Already we discussed that founder of the Sunga dynasty, Pushyamitra Sunga. He was army general of Brahman army general of Bruhadrada, last Mauryan ruler Bruhadrada. He established kingdom in 187 BC after killing Bruhadrada. While Bruhadrada he was receiving parade on the ground. Military parade on the ground. 187 BC, Pushyamitra Sunga, he killed Bruhadrada and ascended the throne. Around Sungas, they were the 10 kings. Around 10 kings. They ruled nearly 112 years. 112 years. Sungas, 10 people, they ruled 100. That means 187 BC to almost 75 BC. This area they ruled Sunga dynasty. Continued this period. So this Pushyamitra Sunga, he was also mentioned in the Harshacharita, mentioned in Harshacharita, which was written by Bana. Bana wrote Harshacharita. In this book, Bana mentioned about the Pushyamitra Sunga. Pushyamitra Sunga, according to this Pushyamitra Sunga, he belongs to Bharadwaja Bharadwaja Gotra. Sungas were belongs to the Bharadwaja Gotra. They are Brahmins. They are the Brahmins. Sungas were belongs to the Bharadwaja Gotra. They were Brahmins. Sungas ruled from Pataliputra. Initially they ruled from Pataliputra. Latter period, during the Agnimitra period, he shifted capital from Pataliputra to Vidisha. And according to some evidences, Vidisha was the second capital of the Sungas. Vidisha, it was second capital of the Sungas. Founder Pushyamitra Sunga. Great ruler also, famous ruler also, Pushyamitra Sunga. Last king of the Sungas, last king Devabhuti. Sungas last king was the Devabhuti. They patronized the language, official language of the Sungas, official language. It was Sanskrit. Sanskrit was the official language of the Sungas. Religion of the Sungas, they were Brahmins, that is a Brahmanical religion. Brahmanical religion. Pushyamitra Sunga, he revived the Brahmanical revivalism. He started the Brahmanical revivalism. And sources, coming to the point of the sources, what are the sources speaks about the Sunga dynasty? I already said to you, Banas Harsacharita. Bana Harsacharita. It speaks about Sungas. One is Banas Harsacharita. Next, Patanjali, the court poet of the Pushyamitra Sunga. Patanjali wrote Mahabhashya. It was great commentary on the Panini's Ashtadhyayi. Kalidas, he also mentioned about the Sungas in his book Malavikagnimitra. Malavikagnimitra. Kalidas wrote this book during the time of the Gupta's period. Kalidas Malavikagnimitra. And Naganika also mentioned about the Sungas in her Nanaghat inscription. Nanaghat inscription. Naganika, she mentioned about the Nanaghat inscription. Next to Chedi ruler, that is Kalinga Karavela. Karavela, he also mentioned about the Sungas in his inscription called Hathigumpa inscription. Hathigumpa inscription, which was found in the Udayagiri hills. Hathigumpa inscription. So all these are the sources of Sungas. And Sungas also mentioned in the Ceylonese books like Divyavadana, Ceylonese Chronicles, Divyavadana, Ceylonese Chronicles, Divyavadana. So these are the sources mentioned about the Sunga dynasty. Banas Harsacharita, Patanjali Mahabhashyam, Kalidas Malavikagnimitra, Nagarika Nanaghat inscription, Karavela Hathigumpa inscription, and also Ceylonese Chronicles, so Divyavadana, all these were mentioned about the Sungas. These are the sources to know about the Sungas. And Sungas, contemporary rulers of the Sungas, Indo-Greeks, contemporary rulers of the Sungas, Indo-Greeks were the contemporaries. Satavahanas were the contemporaries, Satavahanas in the south. Chedi dynasty of the Kalinga, Chedi Kalinga dynasty. And along with this, these are the contemporary rulers of this Sunga dynasty. Next, after this, coming to the point of Pushyamitra Sunga. Pushyamitra Sunga. He was founder. Pushyamitra Sunga was the founder of this dynasty. He was mentioned in the Bana Sarsacharita and also Buddhist literature. According to the Buddhist literature, Pushyamitra Shunga mentioned as destroyer of Buddhism. Destroyer of Buddhism. He mentioned as a destroyer of Buddhism in the Buddhist literature. Because, coming to the point of this, Buddhism and Jainism. This Buddhism and Jainism. These two were founded by the Kshatriyas. These two are against of the Brahmanical rituals and cults. These two things, these two religions are against of Brahmanical religion, Brahmanical rituals and cults. So they mention that useless rituals and sacrifices. Should not sacrifice the animals. Animal sacrifices, performance of the yajnas and yagas were condemned by the Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism and Jainism, what they thought? They thought that to attain moksha, one should get the knowledge that is taken from that has been taken from the Upanishads. They followed the Upanishads. They condemned the Vedic rituals and cults. But Pushyamitra Shunga, he was a Brahmin. He started Brahmanical revivalism. Brahmanical revivalism. That is what called as, he was the founder of the Bhagavatism in India. Bhagavatism became popular because of the Pushyamitra Shunga. So because of that, Buddhism, Jainism was opposing this. So he declared 1,000 dinars on the Buddhist monk head. According to some sources, he was against of the Buddhism. He declared 1,000 dinars on the head of the Buddhist monk. That means if any person killed Buddhist monk and if he brought the Buddhist monk head, he will be rewarded as 1,000 dinars. Dinars are the gold coins. So because of this, all the Buddhist monks, they scattered and they afraid of they scared of the Pushyamitra Shunga. They gathered under the Nagasena. They gathered under the Nagasena. And they went to the help of Indo-Greek ruler. Buddhist monks, they gathered under the Nagasena. Nagasena, he was a Buddhist monk. They gathered under the Nagasena. They went to the Indo-Greek ruler for the help. By this time, who was the Indo-Greek ruler? Menander. He was also called as Milinda. He was also called as Milinda. Whenever Nagasena, he went to the Milinda or Menander, he was not known about the Buddhism. He was ignorant of Buddhism. He doesn't know about the Buddhism. That's why Menander, he asked doubts about the Buddhism to the Nagasena. Nagasena expressed his answers. Questions were given by the Milinda, answers were given by the Nagasena. This composed as a book called as Milinda Panha. Milinda Panha. Milinda Panha, this book, this means questions of Milinda. This means questions of Milinda. Milinda asked questions to the Nagasena. Composed as a Milinda Panha. Nagasena gave answers. That means it is a question and answer book. Just like a question and answer book. This Milinda Panha book was written in the 2nd century BC. 2nd century BC. It considered as a mirror of India in 2nd century BC. One can know about the social conditions of the India of 2nd century BC, economical conditions of India in the 2nd century BC, and also religious conditions of India in the 2nd century BC. That's why it is a very great information is giving about India in 2nd century BC. This was also considered as a Bible of Buddhism. Bible of Buddhism. After knowing Buddhism, Milinda, he known about the Buddhism. So after knowing Buddhism, Milinda, he declared war against Pushyamitra Shunga, and also Milinda was the first foreign ruler who embraced the Buddhism. He was the first foreign ruler who embraced the Buddhism, Milinda. And he declared war against Pushyamitra Shunga. Here, what happened? Pushyamitra Shunga, he was defeated by the Milinda. Pushyamitra Shunga was defeated by Milinda. Not completely defeated, not completely eliminated, but he lost some territories of northwestern India. Some territories of the northwestern India was lost by the Pushyamitra Shunga because of Milinda. So here you remember Pushyamitra Shunga, he was defeated by the Milinda. That was one thing. And another one, coming to the point of the another one, he was against of Jainism. He was also against of Jainism. Pushyamitra Shunga, he was also against of Jainism. That too, Kalinga Kharavela, the contemporary of Pushyamitra Shunga, who was ruling Kalinga, he was Kalinga Kharavela. Kharavela also invaded, that is declared war against Pushyamitra Shunga. Kharavela also declared war against Pushyamitra Shunga. Here, what happened? Pushyamitra Shunga, again he was defeated by the Kharavela. He lost some areas of the south, some south areas of the Pataliputra. Not completely defeated. Remember one thing, Pushyamitra Shunga was not completely defeated, not completely eliminated by either Milinda or Kalavera, but he was defeated by both rulers. He lost parts of some areas of the western India and some areas of the southern India to the Kharavela. Kharavela, he also went to the Pataliputra. According to the Jain sources, Kharavela, he went to the even Pataliputra. And he brought Jain idols from the Pataliputra. Kharavela, he brought Jain idols, that is Jain statues from Pataliputra. But originally these Jain statues belongs to Kalinga only. These statues belongs to Kalinga only. Because during the time of Mahapadmananda, Nanda ruler Mahapadmananda, he defeated Kalinga. Mahapadmananda defeated Kalinga. And Mahapadmananda, he took away Jain idols from Kalinga area to the Pataliputra. Again they bring back by the Kharavela. Remember one thing, Mahapadmananda was the first North Indian ruler who defeated Kalinga. After the Mahapadmananda, next ruler Asoka defeated Kalinga. These two are the important things. Mahapadmananda, coming once again, clear my point. Mahapadmananda, he defeated Kalinga, not during the time of the Kharavela's period, before the Kharavela's period. He took away Jain idols or Jain statues to the Pataliputra. Those Jain idols or Jain statues again bring back by the Kharavela. That was happened. So here we discussed that Pushyamitra Shunga was defeated by the Milinda, lost some territories. Pushyamitra Sunga was also defeated by the Kharavela, lost some territories. Then he wanted to know how much of his empire. How much of his empire. For that Pushyamitra Sunga, he started Ashwamedha Yaga. Ashwamedha Yaga. If any ruler, any king or any emperor wanted to know about the extension of his empire, he should perform the Ashwamedha Yaga. That means sending one horse and hanging a plate on the neck of the horse. That is called as Aswa. Aswa. It was sacred Aswa. They used to take one sacred Aswa, hanging one plate to the Aswa. On that plate, they used to write, so and so Pushyamitra Sunga, the king of Magadha, Pataliputra, he was performing Ashwamedha Yaga. If any ruler wanted to stop the Pushyamitra Sunga's Ashwamedha Yaga, they can stop the horse and they can wage war with Pushyamitra Sunga's army. That was in Lavakusha. You can watch this in the movie of Lavakusha, Ashwamedha Yaga. While Lord Rama performing Ashwamedha Yaga, Lava and Kusha, these two stopped the horse and they waged war against Rama. Finally, the Ashwamedha Yaga of Rama was disturbed by these two children, these two kids. Same like that. Wherever it was going, if that kingdom accepted suzerainty of the Pushyamitra Sunga, that will become part and parcel of the Sunga dynasty. Like that, to know this empire, he started Ashwamedha Yaga. This Ashwamedha Yaga was performed by a priest. Ashwamedha Yaga was performed by a priest called as Patanjali. Patanjali. He wrote Mahabhashya. Patanjali wrote Mahabhashya. Mahabhashya, it was a grammar book, Sanskrit grammar book. Mahabhashya means a great commentary. On what? It was a great commentary on Panini's Ashtadhyayi. Panini wrote Ashtadhyayi. That means 8 chapters. Ashtadhyayi means 8 chapters. It is considered as the first Sanskrit grammar book in India. Panini's Ashtadhyayi considered as the first Sanskrit grammar book in India. Patanjali, he wrote commentary on this. Commentary means how to understand, giving some clarifications of the Ashtadhyayi. Because Patanjali, he was a disciple of Panini. Patanjali was disciple of the Panini. Both Patanjali and Panini, these two were lived in the court of Sungas. They lived in the court of Sungas. This has been asked earlier in previous examinations, several examinations. This is most important thing. You have to remember, because these two are the early grammarians in India. They wrote early grammar books in India. The first grammar book in Sanskrit grammar book, Ashtadhyayi. Second one is Mahabhashya. First grammarian in India, Panini. Second grammarian, Patanjali. Patanjali performed Ashwamedha Yaga on the name of Pushyamitra Sunga. So Pushyamitra Sunga, he performed Ashwamedha Yaga after defeat of Milinda, after defeating in the hands of the Milinda and also Kalinga Kharavela. Kalinga Kharavela. So like this, he performed Ashwamedha Yaga. He was considered as against of the Buddhism and Jainism. But Barhut Stupa, he issued Barhut Stupa. Barhut Stupa belongs to the Pushyamitra Sunga period, that is Sunga's period. According to the Buddhism, Pushyamitra Shunga was against of the Buddhism. According to Buddhist literature, he was against of the Buddhism. But he constructed Barhut Stupa. This was question. This was doubt on the Pushyamitra Shunga, whether he was against of Buddhism and Jainism or not. That was nobody known that. And he was the first Brahman king who performed the Ashwamedha Yaga. According to the historians or according to the Brahmanical works, Brahman should not conduct Ashwamedha Yaga, but Brahman can perform the Ashwamedha Yaga. So historians, they used to say that it was wrong. Pushyamitra Shunga conducted Ashwamedha Yaga, it was wrong. But latter period followed several Brahmin rulers. For example, even Kanva dynasty also did the same. And according to so many evidences, Satavahanas also Brahmins. Satavahana ruler, third ruler of the Satavahanas, Satakarni one, he also performed Ashwamedha Yaga. So this became a tradition of the king, whether he was a Brahman king or Kshatriya king. But it was a tradition of the king. During the time of the Pushyamitra Shunga period, there occurred a revolt in the Ujjaini, that is revolt in Vidisha kingdom. Vidisha kingdom. A revolt occurred in the Vidisha kingdom. That's why he sent Agnimitra. There occurred revolt in the Vidisha kingdom. He sent Agnimitra. Pushyamitra Shunga sent Agnimitra. Agnimitra, he was son of the Pushyamitra Shunga. He was sent to there, originally here, Yagnasena. Who was the ruler of the Vidisha kingdom? He was Yagnasena of that period. Yagnasena revolted against the Pushyamitra Shunga. That's why Pushyamitra Shunga sent Agnimitra to suppress that revolt. Finally, Agnimitra he went there, he defeated Yagnasena. Yagnasena was defeated by the Agnimitra. Agnimitra suppressed that revolt and he would stay there. There, Agnimitra, he fell in love with Malavika. Who was Malavika? Originally, Malavika, according to the Malavika Agnimitra, which was written by the Kalidas, Kalidas wrote Malavika Agnimitra. According to this Malavika Agnimitra, Malavika she was originally princess of Yagnasena. But because of the queen of Yagnasena queen, she ill-treated Malavika. That's why Malavika became maid servant. She became maid servant. Originally she was princess, maid servant, and also she played the role of courtesan. That is dancer. Agnimitra fell in love with Malavika, she was maid servant and dancer. This love story of the Malavika and Agnimitra written as a Malavika Agnimitra, but the love of Agnimitra was not accepted by the Pushyamitra Shunga. But finally Agnimitra, he married Malavika. That was the story. He ended that story. So that's why during the time of the Pushyamitra Sunga period, there occurred revolt in the Vidisha kingdom. After this Pushyamitra Sunga, Agnimitra, he came to the throne. Agnimitra, he ruled the Sunga kingdom. He was second ruler of the Sungas, and already we discussed that Agnimitra, he was a son of Pushyamitra Sunga. He suppressed the revolt of Vidisha kingdom. So he ruled from Vidisha also. Vidisha became second capital of Agnimitra. Second capital of Agnimitra. So already we discussed that Malavika Agnimitra. And one of the last rulers of Sunga dynasty. Bhagabhadra. Mostly he was considered as ninth ruler. Bhagabhadra. I said to you, totally there were 10 kings. Might be he was ninth one. During his period, he was also mentioned somewhere as Bhagavata. Bhagabhadra or Bhagavata. During his period, Indo-Greek ruler, that is Syrian ruler. Indo-Greek ruler. He was also called as Syrian ruler. Antiochus I. Antiochus I, he was Indo-Greek ruler, Syria ruler. He sent Heliodorus to the court of the Bhagaduta or Bhagabhadra. To the court of the Bhagabhadra, Heliodorus was sent. Heliodorus issued Besinagara iron pillar inscription. Besinagara, this is called as Besinagara Garuda iron pillar inscription. Besinagara Garuda iron pillar inscription. Besinagara, it was there in the Madhya Pradesh. Besinagara, the place which is there in the Madhya Pradesh. What is the importance of this Garuda pillar inscription? It is most important inscription asked several times because it was the first epigraphical evidence of Bhagavatism. It was the first epigraphical evidence of Bhagavatism in India. What is Bhagavatism? It is a religion, one sect of the Hindu religion. Bhagavatism is one sect of the Hindu religion. The god of the chief deity of the Bhagavatism, was Vasudeva Krishna. Vasudeva Krishna. She was a chief deity of Bhagavatism. So Bhagavatism, first time mentioned in the inscription, that inscription was Heliodorus Besinagara Garuda iron pillar inscription. Heliodorus, he was Indo-Greek ambassador, came to the court of the Bhagavata period. Bhagaduta period. Bhagabhadra period. Last king of the Sungas. In the Sungas, last king Devabhuti. Devabhuti was the last king of the Sungas. Here, Devabhuti was killed by Vasudeva Kanva. Vasudeva Kanva established Kanva dynasty. Vasudeva Kanva established Kanva dynasty. Remember one thing, the fourth Buddhist council, who was the president of the fourth Buddhist council? Vasumitra. Vasumitra, he was president of the fourth Buddhist council. This Vasumitra also belongs to the Sunga family. He was also belongs to the Sunga family. That note you have to remember. Next, coming to the point of the Kanva dynasty established by the Devabhuti around 75 BC. Kanvas, they ruled just 25 years. 25 years. 4 Kanva rulers were ruled. Kanvas, they ruled from the Pataliputra. Their capital was Pataliputra. 4 Kanva rulers. Vasudeva was the founder. He was the founder of the Kanva dynasty. Vasudeva Kanva, founder of the Kanva dynasty, he belongs to the Brahmin. He was also Brahmin. Kanvas was also Brahmins. They belongs to the Kanvayana Gotra. Their Gotra was Kanvayana Gotra. Kanvayana Gotra. Other 3 rulers of this dynasty. Vasudeva, he was the founder. Capital shifted from Vidisha to the Pataliputra. He ruled from Pataliputra. Other 3 rulers, so Bhumimitra, Narayana, Suserma. According to the Puranas, Suserma was killed by Satavahana ruler. Satavahana ruler killed Suserma and ended the Kanva dynasty. So this is about the post-Mauryan period North Indian rulers, Sungas and Kanvas. So we completed Sungas and Kanvas elaborately because this is also most important. Sometimes questions are concentrating on this area. You need to know about the founder of the Sungas, capital of the Sungas, and important ruler of the Sungas, and Patanjali, Panini, these 2 books. After that, Kanva dynasty. Okay, remember clearly, note down this, and prepare well for the examination. So this is about the Kanva and Sunga dynasty. In the next video, we will discuss with the indigenous rulers of the Satavahanas and South Indian rulers. South Indian rulers were the Pandya, Chera, Chola. In the next video, we will discuss about the Satavahanas, Pandya, Chera, Chola kingdoms. Okay, good luck to you all.